where do you go from there after the pregame?
So going into the game, well, actually, let me rewind. So as part of the pregame as well, typically we have our players come up with, say, 2 to 3 focus cues, 2 to 3 themes, so to speak, for the game. So something like lock up defensively, lead with energy, maybe, you know.
Hmm.
So then going into the game, you might use those short phrases or buzzwords, keywords as focus cues that maybe you write on your arm, maybe there is some type of physical gesture that you go to serve as a reminder to engage in those type of behaviors to
Hmm.
make the most of your performance. And then obviously you can couple that with maybe some deep breathing when there's a dead ball, get a couple of relaxed breaths in if you're somebody who gets anxious, you know. But I like this idea of setting tangible themes and goals for the game, you know. Sometimes even say like from a leadership perspective, we might have players set tangible goals on behaviors that they're trying to engage in more frequently. So if it's a player that by nature is relatively quiet, for instance, but they're looking to step up their leadership behavior playing point guard position, a goal might be to initiate a huddle at least 3 times per half.
Okay, you set concrete goals for that player just to have like a little for him that in the back of his mind.
Yeah, sometimes it helps. Obviously, as you know, we don't want players thinking too much. Most of the time, players report playing their best when they're not thinking and they're just acting.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's helpful to have tangible goals to strive towards when you're not really quite sure how to step up your leadership or get to a certain level.
But it's you also don't want to overload with them with information, right? Like it's something that like there's also a road to achievement is you have to have realistic goals if you want to get fit. But people start off like going 100 miles an hour in the fitness facility because they want to get in shape, and then they quit after 2 weeks because it's just not sustainable. So
Right.
what's these all these small tasks like that you give to your players, they have to be achievable and sustainable throughout a long period of time. So where like just also I guess it's also customized, right?
Yeah, that's also customized and it might vary even for an individual player week to week. And that's why
Mm,
we always look to get feedback. You know, we might set a tangible goal for one game and then the player might come back after the game. We just talk it through. Hey, was it helpful to have that goal? Did it help your focus throughout the game or did it take away from it? Was it too much? Was it too little? How do we want to change it? Again,
yeah.
the mental training sessions are really intended to foster a partnership between myself or one of our other mental coaches and the player because the player is the expert in a lot of ways, so we really want to empower them to find their own voice.
Yeah, yeah, that's I think, it's a slow grinding process and you have to trust in the process. But you also have to really like it has to you can't just expect to have changes after a month, maybe like it's there has to be, even if there is changes and you stop working with a mental performance coach, it could revert right back. Like you have to have like a foundation for it to build on. But if we're talking about during the game, what are the cues that you personally look for during the game when you see the player? Because as an assistant coach, you also kind of look if the player is like engaged, mentally engaged. Is he tired? What is he thinking? Is his shoulders are slumped or not? Like, are there certain cues that you feel like are really like attention getters or red flags during the game?
Yeah, I mean there are probably some that are pretty universal across players. Obviously, when players are hanging their heads or you notice they're getting overly involved with the referees or other factors outside of their control. But beyond that, I would again say that we really look at how like what's a player's optimal kind of optimal combination of behaviors, if you
Hmm.
will. So for I found that certain players, if we try to discourage them from engaging in what might be perceived as negative behaviors too much, then their overall emotional demeanor might be too flat. So some players might need a little bit of tension, a little bit of going at the rest here and there, you know
Right.
what I mean? Or going at a teammate, because otherwise all their positive behaviors might decline as well. So just looking
Hmm.
at what's an optimal ratio, and just again understanding player tendencies and what different types of behaviors might mean for an individual. Sometimes we have players that might slump their shoulders because they're really discouraged, really down in their confidence. And for other players, that same behavior, while it doesn't look great from the outside, might be a way of refocusing and just getting, getting more analytical for a second, thinking things through.
I can imagine it's like as much information as you have probably gathered throughout the years, that there's so much that you have to differentiate and put into buckets or cupboards, that where you can say, okay, this player is this way, this player is a little bit different.